Alright, next thing I want to show you is from the UFO disclosure, a guy named Stephen Greer. Now he came and basically started this whole UFO thing. He got in touch with a lot of high-class Secret Service personnel way up in the secret corporate structure, and just got testimonial after testimonial and evidence and eventually put together a national press club where all these people disclose this information in one thing, which was nationally televised, and that's what has kind of started this whole truth movement in regards to UFOs and stuff like that. So what he's going to talk about now is how the story of UFOs could have gone one way or the other, and also how they're going to use UFOs, this shadow government, for a false flag attack. And after this, we're going to go into a little bit about false flags and stuff, but I'll show you this for now.
Whole perspective. There were some very good folks like Secretary Forrestal and others who wanted to bring the subject out, but in a way where there would be contact that would be peaceful between humans and these civilizations. But there were other people who saw the big gold mine of militarism and war profiteering and the psychological warfare value.
Their mandate, their mandate is to lie, deny, and deceive.
There are people who've had experiences with the technology that we're not able to handle it psychologically because it defies reality.
And in this document, the CIA director, Walter Smith, says, "I am today transmitting to the National Security Council a proposal in which it is concluded that the problems connected with unidentified flying objects appear to have implications for psychological warfare, as well as for intelligence and operations." We have to take a step back from all the jargon and all the paranoia in Star Wars movies for just a minute and realize that it's very easy to set up a false flag operation.
A false flag operation, also known as a false indication and warning, is a military tactic in which you create the illusion of a threat, often by attacking yourself and blaming the desired enemy. It's proven extremely effective at uniting the public around a perceived threat.
And this is actually a well-known concept in military intelligence circles. We did it in the Gulf of Tonkin in Vietnam, where we exaggerated, if not completely staged, an attack on our naval vessels so we would stampede President Johnson and the Congress into vastly expanding the Vietnam conflict to benefit, guess who? The military-industrial complex and the war profiteers.
U.S. military officials, for example, have planned through a project called Operation Northwoods back in 1962 to dress up Cuban refugees in Cuban military uniforms, have them attack Guantanamo Base and kill U.S. military personnel, sink U.S. military ships, and blow up shopping centers in Miami, targeting, killing refugees from Cuba to infuriate the American population so that they can invade and occupy Cuba. It's astonishing that anybody would dare to make a recommendation like that, but they did.
Then you can look at Iraq. Concocted all kinds of false information about weapons of mass destruction, which Saddam Hussein did not have, and it was known in intelligence circles he didn't have. Fracture that whole part of the world, and now we have ISIS. So we have to realize the machinations and manipulations that go on behind the scenes leave us very vulnerable. And the big one is this one, where they could say, oh yes, the UFOs are real, but guess what? They're a threat, and we need to unite the world, like Will Smith said in the original Independence Day.
Something you want to add to this briefing, Captain Hiller?
No, sir. I'm just a little anxious to get up there and whoop E.T.'s ass, that's all.
Efforts on the part of a certain element within the kind of ruling structures of our planet to try to utilize the discovery of extraterrestrial intelligence as an ultimate threat, the ultimate other bad guys, to justify the national security state dream of locking down and putting under complete control of an authoritarian ruling class the control of the planet and the resources.
The nations of the world will have to unite, for the next war will be an interplanetary war. The nations of the Earth must someday make a common front against attack by people from other planets. General Douglas MacArthur.
Can you realize that we, that you and I, that all of us, have actually begun the exploration of another world? We have taken the first historic step into our solar system. I am Werner von Braun.
Werner von Braun was one of the top scientists brought to the U.S. from Germany after World War II as part of Operation Paperclip. He invented the V-2 rocket for Adolf Hitler and became the chief architect of the Saturn V rocket for NASA's Apollo moon missions. In his deathbed confession, von Braun warned of a plot to pull off the ultimate false flag, using back-engineered alien reproduction vehicles to stage an invasion from outer space.
When von Braun was dying in front of me, the very first day that I met him, he had tubes draining out of his side. And he was tapping on the desk telling me, "You will come to Fairchild." I was a school teacher. "You will come to Fairchild and you will be responsible for keeping weapons out of space." The strategy that Werner von Braun taught me was that first the Russians were the enemy against whom we're going to build space-based weapons. Then terrorists would be identified. Then we were going to identify third world country crazies. The last card is the alien card, and all of it, he said, is a lie. A lie.
Have you been exposed, or did you come across in your career and your network the false INW or the deceptive indication and warnings projects related to this?
Yes.
And what did you find out about those?
That's pretty hush. I don't think I should talk about that. Yeah.
I mean, that's what when I briefed the head of the Defense Intelligence Agency, that was the main subject.
That is, that's very sensitive. Yeah, it's very sensitive. Yeah.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Well, the only problem with that is that if you look at the technologies that permit for interplanetary and interstellar travel, it's 1,000 times more developed than a hydrogen bomb, which, if we were to have a massive exchange of nuclear weapons, would leave most of all life on Earth extinguished. Therefore, how could we possibly have armed conflict with another planetary system for more than a nanosecond and survive it? They know that we couldn't. But it's a way of manipulating the public through demagoguery of fear, jingoism, false nationalism, and creating a boogeyman out in space.
Were you surprised when your daughter enlisted?
Not at all. She's a born leader. I know I've been taking orders from her since she was 5 years old.
So you don't worry about her?
Of course I worry about her. I fought in the war in '96. I know what those things are capable of. But I know what my daughter is capable of. And I know this planet is safer because she's defending it.
They could pull it off. They could definitely pull it off. Right now, they have the technology to mimic the form, fit, and function of extraterrestrial UFOs. They have the technology, absolutely. It's seamless, and you can never tell the difference. If they do have a false flag invasion, they're going to use one of these. This is the Hudson Valley Boomerang. This is 1982 to 1989. Over 25,000 eyewitnesses reported this craft. They can use the saucers, the cigars, the pyramids, the triangles as a united coalition, and that's how they're going to do it. We're talking about 150 to 172 feet across for the wingspan, which is the identical wingspan of the B-2 stealth bomber. So the question we need to ask is, was some of that $22.4 billion used on the B-2 poured into this program? It's the exact same time frame. When they power up and when they accelerate, it looks like a spark off a grinding wheel, and you could never know the difference. So if they wanted to hoax an alien invasion, they could do it, and they could do it in a way that's 100% believable.
They started doing all kinds of psychological warfare entrainment of the public by staging hoaxed events, such as cattle mutilations. Oh, it's a flying saucer who did that. It's a covert paramilitary program, human. So if you wanted to start indoctrinating people into a false threat from outer space that Wernher von Braun warned us about, you would start staging events that look alien, but that are completely man-made, that are scary and scare the hell out of people.
UFO encounters are categorized into 4 groups. Close encounters of the 4th kind include people who claim to have been abducted by extraterrestrials. If you had a close encounter of the 4th kind and you are back, we're anxious to hear from you.
Inner stage left, you got these sort of anti-gravity devices with creatures that look like ETs that are actually man-made robotic systems. They're called programmed life forms. And you start doing select interfaces with the public.
We did do that, yes. OSI did that. There was a special group out of the 7602nd Air Intel Wing at Fort Belvoir. They came out and did that. They had these people that had maybe some sort of defects, anatomical defects that were brought in to fool people into thinking they're aliens. Yeah. I can't give you any specifics because the program is still classified, and they probably still doing it. I wouldn't doubt it. They were still doing it.
So they've already got this psychological warfare already embedded into the minds of people to expect an extraterrestrial, not a secret aircraft, but an alien craft. So when they do pull this, they'll already have everything ready to roll.
These civilians got onto the base and got into something. They saw something they weren't supposed to see, and this group came out and went into their home and scared the dickens out of them and
staged an alien event.
Exactly.
The government will use the extraterrestrial phenomenon to cover their own deep black programs, and so that's the fight that we're up against here.
And then it makes it out through the movie industry and the UFO lore and the internet and what have you, and it starts creating this specter of a threat.
Get away from her, you bitch!
Pardon me, are you from Mars?
It's a moo-moo.
Nicht Deutsch!
It's a moo-moo.
The fact that you and I are still breathing the free air of Earth is abundant testimony to their restraint and non-hostility. Now the question is, how are these civilizations viewing us? Are they perceiving human civilization as a threat? And the answer is yes. Because I believe we've reached a point where we're a threat not only to our planet and each other, but we're also developing weapon systems that are potentially a threat in space.
I just hope that it's not like Independence Day.
Yeah, right.
That it's a conflict.
Well, now we have friendly
Maybe the only way to unite this incredibly divided world of ours. They're out there. We better think of how all the differences among people on Earth would seem small if we felt threatened by a space invader. That's the whole theory of independence.
You're right.
Everybody gets together and makes nice, and
you and Bill O'Reilly would be hiding in a bunker together.
Yeah, it's all very funny to make jokes about it until it actually happens. But again, one of the reasons of putting this out is just awareness. Like, share this. It may be true, it may not be true, but I would rather err on the side of caution. And with that term, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's normally a duck. I have researched this, have you? How much time have you spent doing it? Do some research on it and have a look at Operation Paperclip and see how the 100 Nazis came from Germany into America to build space and their rockets, and it's amazing. Have a look at the British Royals. They're all Nazis and married into the Nazis. I'm clearly gonna have to do other videos. I just thought I would do the one that was the easiest and probably least taboo. But I wanted to do something that people can actually see and go, oh wow, I have been lied to. You know, there's information out there that is true. And I want to stress that there's too much information out there. There's ignorance. People say ignorance, what have we been led to believe? Ignorance is what? Bliss. Ignorance is damn expensive. You just be ignorant to the facts. Someone comes and takes your business. Someone steals your kids. You know, actually, ignorant people. Anyway, getting on to the next one. I just want to do a quick thing, looking at clues to the next false flags. So, obviously through media and TVs and mainstream, like I said, all this information is put in plain sight. And have a look at this, for example.
Interestingly, this story begins with a deck of cards created in the 1980s by Steve Jackson Games, with later versions created into the 90s. This deck of cards has made very accurate predictions, such as the false flag attack on the World Trade Center on 9/11, and the attack on the Pentagon on the same day. Princess Diana died in mysterious circumstances, allegedly while fleeing the paparazzi, so one could argue that this card predicts her demise. And depending what year this card was released, it either predicts or refers to the Waco Massacre of 1991, where the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco and Firearms, or the BATF, burned down the Branch Davidian Church, killing over 70 people, many of whom were children. The card game also refers to past and present events such as NASA faking the moon landings, the rewriting of history, gun control, an energy crisis, weather manipulation, subliminal messages, and the subversive power of the Vatican. The card game also features cards which have not yet come to pass, for example, further chaos, a fake alien invasion, and World War III. The whole point of this is to show you that the hidden elite powers of the world plan things many years ahead of time and leave clues in unlikely places. I will be showing you many examples of this as we go on. Also, we may be able to use these clues to make an educated guess at what is coming. It is demonstrable that various secret societies around the world play a significant part in major world events. The main secret societies for the sake of this video are the Knights Templar, Freemasonry, and the Skull and Bones Society. These secret societies are obsessed with ritual, symbolism, and numbers. On Friday the 13th of October, 1307, the society known as the Knights Templar were arrested and tried for heresy against the Church. In order to avoid punishment, many of the remaining Templars went into hiding only to emerge years later as the Freemasons. The most significant number in Freemasonry is 33, because it is the highest attainable degree in the Scottish Rite. This number will crop up a lot more as we continue. The Knights Templar also controlled the original pirates, who operated under the black flag with a white skull and crossbones, a logo which is still used today by the Skull and Bones Society of Yale University. Their number is 322, which will also be significant as we proceed. Like a serial killer, these secret societies leave their numbers behind at terror events, rather like a signature. For example, JFK. A few miles from the 33rd parallel lies Elm Street in Dallas, Texas, the location of the assassination of JFK. Dallas, Texas, in numerology is 33. Kennedy in numerology is 33. JFK was killed on the 22nd of November, or the 22nd of the 11th, the sum of which is 33. Kennedy was shot at Dealey Plaza, which is, according to some researchers, an outdoor temple of the sun. and on Kennedy's gravesite you will find an eternal flame burning. This is one last insult to him, because the eternal flame has great esoteric significance to the Luciferian secret societies. These are just a few examples of the Luciferian signature left behind concerning John F. Kennedy. In the UK, in May 2004, there was an episode of Panorama called London Under Attack, which featured a terrorist attack in London very similar to those experienced in reality 14 months later, known as the 7/7 bombings. This is what is known as predictive programming, whereby the establishment informs the masses of what is going to happen before it actually does. This concept proves beyond any shadow of a doubt that these so-called terrorist attacks are premeditated by the country in which they occur. They are not unexpected attacks from an outside force of Islamic extremists. They are just the scapegoats. But in this predictive programming episode of Panorama, which prophesied the 7/7 bombings, there was a man by the name of Peter Power. He featured as a so-called expert on Panorama to tell everybody what would happen if something like this did occur. But in an unbelievable act of prophecy, Peter Power was conducting a terrorism training operation on the morning of 7/7 in the exact location that the real terrorist attacks occurred. See how they like to rub it in your face? It becomes much more clear as we go on. Another example of predictive programming would be the album cover of The Coup's Party Music. This quite clearly shows the destruction of the World Trade Centers, but it was created in June 2001, 3 months before the 9/11 attacks actually took place. Friday the 13th of November 2015 was the date of the Bataclan attacks in Paris. This false flag attack happened at an Eagles of Death metal concert and interrupted their performance while they were playing a song called Kiss the Devil. After this false flag terrorist attack, in respect for the victims who died there, the Eagles of Death Metal released a song called Save a Prayer, which is a cover version from a band called Duran Duran, who released it 33 years previously. Duran in numerology is 9, so Duran Duran is 99. Remember this. I'd also like to draw your attention to this curious unidentified gold object on the floor at the Bataclan attack. It is unclear what this is, but it will become relevant later. In addition, the blood smears on the floor resemble the logo for the Brussels airport, which is the location of the next terrorist attack. The number 322 underneath the Skull and Bones Society logo can refer to a date, the 22nd day of the 3rd month, or March 22nd. On Tuesday, 22nd of March, or 322, 2016, there was a false flag terrorist attack in Belgium, in Brussels, where bombs were detonated at an airport and an underground train network. 33 years prior to this, AC/DC released an album called Flick of the Switch, which featured a song called Bedlam in Belgium. Bedlam meaning a scene of uproar and mayhem, as was experienced in Belgium on 3/22/2016, 33 years later. There is also a golden-coloured, large sculpture in Brussels airport. Following our gold theme, you should remember this for later. Later, in 2016, on the 14th of July, there was a false flag terrorist attack along the French Riviera. A truck was deliberately driven into crowds of people celebrating Bastille Day. 1 month previously, a film was released called Bastille Day, in which a rogue CIA agent is on a mission to stop a terrorist attack in France. Now let me say that again, folks. In June 2016, a film was released about a terrorist attack in France. The film is called Bastille Day. 1 month later, in July 2016, there was a terrorist attack in France on Bastille Day. Exactly 1 year after the Belgium attacks, on 3/22, 2017, there was another terrorist attack, this time in London. So, what music could be significant 33 years prior to this? Well, a good place to look would be the UK charts, and what we find here is mind-blowing. 33 years ago was 1984, and on 322, 1984, the UK number 1 was 99 Red Balloons by Nina, and this is actually very significant. In the music video for this song, we see Nina walking along with 2 3s on either side of her. So, we have our 33 again. And in the German version of the song called 99 Luftballons, which was released 1 year previously, we see Nina with skull and bones earrings on. So, we have a reference to 322 before the song was even released in English and got to number 1 on 322. Also, Nina is German, and all of her songs are in German, apart from this one, which was released in English and reached number 1 in the UK charts exactly 33 years prior to a terrorist attack in England. So we have 33, which could be 33 years, we have our 322, and we have English, or England. But now we need to examine the lyrics to this song. Now this song is actually talking about a war with extraterrestrials. Now hold on, I know that sounds ridiculous, but just listen to these lyrics. But I must qualify here, I don't think aliens are real. If there was a battle in our sky with UFOs, it would be another false flag event. And remember, whenever there is a UFO sighting, the official story is that it was just a balloon of some sort. In fact, the official story for the famous Roswell crash, which happened at 33 degrees north on the 7th of July, or 7/7, is still that it was a US Air Force balloon. It will become clear that these 99 red balloons is a code for UFOs, but just bear with me on this one. So here we go. You and I in a little toy shop buy a bag of balloons with the money we've got, set them free at the break of dawn until one by one they were gone. Back at base, bugs in the software, now later this will become clear that this is referring to a military base, flash the message, something's out there. Floating in the summer sky, 99 red balloons go by. 99 red balloons floating in the summer sky, that could be referring to this summer, I don't know. Panic bells, it's red alert, there's something here from somewhere else. The war machine springs to life, that's a reference to go into war. Opens up one eager eye. Now that's a direct reference to secret societies. The one eager eye is the eye of Lucifer. Focusing it on the sky where 99 red balloons go by. 99 Decision Street, 99 ministers meet. So this is something very significant happening. To worry, super scurry. Call the troops out in a hurry. Again, that's a direct reference to war. This is what we've waited for. This is it, boys. This is war. The president is on the line, so this is something very significant happening, as 99 red balloons go by. 99 Knights of the Air ride super high-tech jet fighters, so that's war again. Everyone's a superhero, everyone's a Captain Kirk. Now, Captain Kirk was a character from Star Trek, so this is, a reference to a fictional intergalactic character. With orders to identify, to clarify and classify. Scramble in the summer sky, 99 red balloons go by. This summer sky is consistent throughout the song, so a question would be, what's going to happen in the summer sky? Is it this summer? I don't know. 99 dreams I have had, in every one a red balloon. It's all over and I'm standing pretty, in this dust that was a city. So this could be a reference to a city being destroyed. So I believe that this song is referring to a fake alien invasion. And let's get one thing straight, it will be fake. We currently have flocks of so-called truth seekers running around talking about an extraterrestrial presence on Earth, not realising that they are being deceived into a huge psyop. You've got controlled opposition agents like Freemason David Icke and Jordan Maxwell and many, many more pushing this agenda, not to mention the fact that it was the CIA who set up the UFO magazines and the goofologist conferences in the US, along with a blatant Hollywood campaign to condition us all to believe in aliens, and mainstream programs like Ancient Aliens, which has thoroughly been debunked, by the way, I'll leave links in the description. All of this is leading up to a false extraterrestrial visitation or invasion, the result of which will be to unite the world against a common enemy in a new world order or a one-world totalitarian government, which is the main agenda of the elite. And as far as alien abductions go, they can just as easily be explained by CIA mind control and implanted memories. Some people even suggest that there is a demonic aspect to it all. There are testimonies of people who, while being abducted, have called upon Jesus Christ, and subsequently the experience has stopped, and they were woken up in bed. If you believe aliens are intergalactic rather than spiritual, then I would advise looking at it all again with a more open mind. In numerology, 99 red balloons is 999. 9 and 9 is 18, which 1 and 8 is 9. Red is 18, which again goes down to 9, and balloons is 27, and 2 and 7 goes down to 9. So 999 could refer to the emergency contact number of the United Kingdom, so we're back in England again. Or it could refer to the inversion of 666, I don't know. Also, something that will become relevant later is that Nina left high school before graduating and trained to be a goldsmith. So just remember this for later on.
So you can see more hiding in plain sight, and people are like, well, it's just a coincidence. It's just clutching at straws and trying to make connections from something that there's not. But I go back to the term again. If it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck, it's normally a duck. And, prove it otherwise. Prove that something else sinister is up, and that the clues that lead to it and the numerology and the stuff that it's not real. Again, it all comes down to the powers, and there's the good powers and the bad powers, and what you want to focus on grows, and what you let into your life manifests. And that's why I encourage everyone, before you came across this information, you thought a concept. Now you've viewed the information, has it led you to feel different? Has it given you a different sense or a different thought or a different perspective? It's the same as knowing God. It's very difficult to explain, but once He's in your life, and I believe everyone is a part of God and born with God in them. You just need to let Him in. You just need to build that relationship. And all these demonic presence and powers, you don't need to worry about it. I know all about it, but I don't let it worry me. I know that God is the ultimate creator, and God has authority over all these things. And I'll do another video on this, but you watch celebrities selling their soul, and elites and stuff, and they have to let the devil and the bad powers in. You need to actively let a power in, whether it's good or bad, whether you let the God in or if you let the devil in. Both are going to manipulate your life in one way or another. And I just hope that this video just shows you that there are powers, there are demonic powers, and there are great powers. Pick the good one. The evidence is out there. With this whole hidden in plain sight thing, I'm just going to get back to it. But people say, how, well, I'm not that dumb. If someone put something in a TV or something in front of me, I would know it. And I've put this one together to show you specifically that you don't know.
I'll tell you what's the worst part about television is the programming, the philosophy, okay? I mean, the manipulating of your mind, the philosophy, the mentality, the system of thinking, the ideology. That's what's wrong with television. That's what's wrong with movies. That's where they're really getting in your head. Take, for example, Walt Disney, right? And many people that will preach against the TV, they'll preach against the movies, they'll preach against Hollywood because it's obvious that stuff is bad. But then they'll say, well, we watch Disney movies. And I've been to the home of preachers and Christians who would never watch TV or the movies, but yet they have the whole library of the Walt Disney movies. You know those white plastic cases? And they have them all lined up. And I mean, they have tons of them lined up. Of course, I don't know how many there are, but there's hundreds of them. They have them lined up and lined up. And they have their kids watching those movies all day long. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to prove to you right now that those movies are wicked. What? Disney movies? Come on, you're crazy. They're rated G. Well, let's see. First of all, did you know this? Did you know that Disney movies are filled with subliminal messages? Subliminal messages. Now, what are we talking about tonight? Sorcery. What are we talking about tonight? Getting inside your mind and messing with you, controlling your thought process by supernatural means or demonic means. Or hey, I'm going to tell you something. Disney movies are filled with subliminal messages. And you say, oh, that's a hoax. I've seen it with my own eyes. When I was a teenager, I had a friend of mine sit me down at his house and show me the subliminal messages in the Disney movies. They're filled with subliminal messages. Let me give you some examples. The Lion King, filled with subliminal messages. Okay, all throughout the movie, there are pornographic pictures hidden in the movie. Like you'll be watching the movie, and just for a few seconds, something filthy will come on. Like off to the side, there'll be some kind of a, reproductive anatomy will pop up, over here, and then over here. There's this one point where the lion, he kind of goes like this, and a cloud of dust comes up and just spells the word sex. And the word sex is put in the Lion King movie subliminally, literally hundreds of times. Hundreds of times. The shapes on the screen will spell the word. And I've seen it. I mean, I had my friend sit me down at his house and pausing the movie, showing me the word sex popping up on the screen at different times because he knew where they were. And he would show me these things. Another one, and they all are filled with it. Aladdin is another one. In the movie Aladdin, there's a part in the movie where the guy, what's his name, Aladdin? There's a point in the movie where he tells Jasmine to take all her clothes off. But you don't even know it unless you know it's there. You listen to it, and he mumbles it kind of under his breath.
Leave me alone.
So how's our little beau doing? Come on, good kid. Take off. So how's our little beau doing? Come on, good kid. Take off. Come on, good kid. Take off. Come on, good kid. Take off.
And I mean, once you know it's there, you hear it just as clear as day. But you didn't know that it was there, you wouldn't hear it. And The Little Mermaid has a filthy picture drawn in the cover on the front of The Little Mermaid. And nobody would realize it until somebody shows you and says, look at this. And you look at it, whoa! And all throughout the movie there are scenes, I'm not even going to describe some of the scenes in The Little Mermaid where subliminal messages are coming on the screen. The other movie, Beauty and the Beast. There, a nude woman pops up a few times in the background of Beauty and the Beast. Filled with subliminal messages. Your kids are watching it and their mind is maybe not even seeing it, but it's going into their subconscious. Words flashing on the screen over and over. sex, nudity, filth, all the smut is just coming on the screen. Oh, those movies are harmless. They're filled with subliminal messages. Who knows what your kids are being programmed? Oh, but you know what? I'm sure that it's only just the Disney movies. I'll guarantee you it's the rest of Hollywood probably doing the same thing. And these Disney movies, at first when I was a teenager and somebody showed me this, I thought it was just a couple movies, a couple scenes. But as time has gone on, I've realized that virtually every Disney movie is packed with hundreds of subliminal messages to program the minds of your children. Okay, but then forget the subliminal message. Just the message of the Disney movies is perverted. Even if you just forget the subliminal message. I mean, forget what movies did we bring up? The Little Mermaid. A half animal, half human being. That's perverted in and of itself. All throughout the Bible, every false god is a half animal, half human being. They're constantly merging of animals and human beings. It's paganism. It's wicked. And yet every Disney movie is pretty much based on the merging of a human being with an animal. It's described in the Bible. And the movie The Little Mermaid, she's topless the whole time, right? She's just wearing like a bikini top. How is that? Is that how you want your daughter to dress? But there's no cussing, there's no nudity. Do you want your daughter going around in a bikini top? Is that modest apparel? Is that what Jesus Christ would have you to wear, ladies? No. The movie's filled with Satanism, witchcraft. There's some, Ursula, some witch that's casting spells and using sorcery and demonism. Oh, pretty innocent, right? All of them are filled with it in the movie Beauty and the Beast. The whole first half of the movie is these prostitutes in the town that are dressed just half naked, dancing around, admiring this guy, the big, strong, handsome guy. But all these girls are dressed indecently. They're obscene in their gestures, subliminal messages, and then the whole movie is basically just exalting a certain physical standard of appearance. Beauty and the Beast is a movie about a woman who falls in love with an animal. And in the movie they keep acting like, well, he's just ugly. He's not ugly, he's an animal. But there's a difference between being ugly and being a beast, being an animal. And if you've seen the cartoon, it's an animal. It's like a dog. It's like a big dog man or something. I mean, it's clearly an animal, and yet she falls in love with him while he's an animal. Only when she kisses an animal does he become a human being. Oh, wow. And you say, well, what's wrong with that? Read the Bible sometime.
Hey guys, it's Jared. I pray this video shed light on the satanic, Luciferian, Illuminati indoctrination of our children through subliminal messages and Disney movies. I understand that you may not believe this, but when you look into who's making these movies and you see the fruits of their labor, it all makes sense. Walt Disney was a Freemason obsessed with the occult and used his movies and his theme parks as a tool to indoctrinate the public into his beliefs. Club 33 in the Disneyland parks is symbolic of the 33rd degree of Masonry. This symbolism is also put into the Disney movies. In the Dumbo movie, after getting drunk, Dumbo and the rat have lucid dreams that contain satanic, Luciferian, and Illuminati symbolism. Disney also displays its corrupt satanic agenda through programming of their idols. They introduce innocent stars that slip under parents' radar and build up a fan base. As the idols get older, they corrupt them and send them on a crash course in a dragnet plot to drag some of their fans down with them. Examples of this are Miley Cyrus, Britney Spears, and Christina Aguilera. I know the 666 in the Disney name is hard for some people to accept, but it is not Walt Disney's signature, as many believe. It is a made logo, and even as a kid I remember thinking the logo looked odd. It didn't look like any D I had ever seen. The Y doesn't even look like a Y, and the squiggly above the I are all part of the hidden mark of the beast symbolism. Think about it. This mark is on everything Disney, and as if to affirm its importance and the mark of the beast promotion, on many Disney stores, Mickey's head is made with the same 666.
So again, research yourself, just check it out. There's so much stuff that's hidden in plain sight, and Disney movies are the worst. But what you come to realize is it's actually throughout Hollywood. Like every single blockbuster, you can almost look at Hollywood and instead of looking at them at movies, look at them as documentaries. Like start viewing stuff as like, I know this seems far-fetched and made up, but could it be telling a story in plain truth, just manipulating a few of the details and changing some things? Because that's what I've come to find is that nothing is as it seems, and we really have to question everything. I don't believe anything that we've been told anymore. It's a bit of a problem, but I know we're deviating a little bit off the truth about moon and UFOs. So I was going to show you something about predictive programming, something that was pretty sad with Robin Williams and his suicide, but just research that yourself and have a look at Seth MacFarlane and kind of what he's doing.